I think she's going to make someone a really great pet, plus she's a very pretty dog.
Yeah, I got a pocket full of treats.
Our next guest is Zeus, and Zeus is a 10 or 12-year-old little Beagle Shepherd mix, and has, quite the story to tell. First of all, he was owned by someone who moved away and left him in the care of a friend. And of course, that person very generously just took on his care and took care of him and made sure he had enough to eat, maybe a little bit extra enough to eat. And then that man lost his home and had to move in with family. So he moved in with family that already had a dog and wasn't able to take a second dog. So Zeus is here. And he has everything going for him experience-wise. Likes people, he's mature, he's already house trained, he doesn't pull on the leash, he's gentle taking treats. What a really nice dog. The thing that's going to hold him back is we're going to need a really generous person to get him for two reasons. Number one is he's 10 or 12 years old, so even if he was lucky and lived to be 17 or so, he doesn't have that long to give. And the other reason is because he has these growths on him that are fatty tumors. And certainly if he gets on a diet and loses weight, he'll look better. But he might need to have some medical attention to these if they continue to grow. And so it's just going to take an extra person, an extra special person that's willing to take a dog that they didn't know when he was a good puppy and didn't get all of the good years of his loyalty, to give him whatever time he has left and share that with him. And he's such a sweet dog. He is trembling a little bit because he's nervous, but you can imagine, I know, you can imagine if he was living his whole life with the same two people, that being dropped off at the kennel and not seeing them again is a little bit hard. Now, even though that is sad, a lot of people think that every dog in the animal shelter feels like Zeus does, which is he's missing his people and he's not sure how long he's going to be here and what's going to happen next. But a lot of the dogs that we get, half of them, are strays, and so they have been out in the heat. They have maybe experienced fleas or parasites or illness. So when they come to the shelter, it only takes them 2 or 3 days to realize that things here are pretty good. If you had to live on the streets and then you got checked into a hotel, you'd feel pretty good after a couple days realizing that you're clean and dry and fed and cared for. But for dogs like Zeus, who had a loving family that took really good care of them, coming to the shelter is a little unsettling because they're not sure if they're going to get a home again. And in Zeus's case, we're going to make sure that he does. So if you think he would make a good match for you or someone that you know, then come by and meet him, because I think you'll be pretty impressed how gentle and kind he is. Our next guest is Tootles, Tootles the poodle. Tootles is only 5 months old and very cute, red in color. But the reason that Tootles came to the shelter is the people who purchased him said puppies are too much work. And you guys have heard me say many, many times that we only get about 300 puppies in a year, but that is so often what we hear. They're so cute, and it's so easy to see one, pay for one, and take one home, and then to easily be overwhelmed. So I'll go over the math of it one more time, because this to me really brings home why this happens. So you go to work for 8 hours a day, but that includes an hour commute on each end. Even if you live close to work, sometimes you're going to stop on your way home for gas or dinner. Sometimes you're going to stop on your way to work for coffee. So that's 10 hours a day. Then you're going to sleep. Most of us don't get the 8 hours of sleep that's recommended. So let's say you sleep 7 hours. So that's 17 hours. Now, everyone knows there's 24 hours in a day. You have to eat some meals. So now we're up to 20 hours. Now you have 4 hours left. Of the 4 hours you have in your day, that's not eating, driving, or working. This puppy needs all of that. every minute of those 4 hours, and it can't just be all bunched into one 4-hour block. It's got to be spaced out in his life. So if you are thinking of getting a puppy, think of getting some help. Either think of using puppy daycare or a dog walker, or if you have a spouse with a flexible schedule and you can trade off, because it's only going to take 6 or 8 months until he's trained, but that's a long time for a puppy to go without guidance. And since he's already 6 months old, he's going to need a lot of supervision from now until sometime next year in the spring or summer. So if you have what it takes to bring a puppy into the society he needs to be part of, and that involves taking him 100 places in 100 days, and those should be places where nothing bad happens as much as you can control that. The other thing that you're going to have to do for Tootles is employ a groomer or learn to groom dogs. You can do that too, because brushing him is definitely going to be part of his future, but poodles will get dreadlocks if they're not brushed and or groomed, and so that takes special care. So if you think Tootles is cute enough to have you put in all that effort for the next year or so, then come meet him, because he's very cute and he'll be worth it.